Meeting called to order at 7:01. President Bardois.
Present.
Vice President Avira. Present. Director of Administrative Affairs Patak. Director of Financial Affairs Salim.
Present.
Director of Government and Legal Affairs Gurley.
Present.
Director of Student Relations Williams.
Present.
Director of Foreign Outreach Upmore.
Present.
Director of Technology and Web Development Jordan.
Present.
Director of Student Organization and Partnership Board Dudley.
Present.
Vice Chair of Senate King.
Present.
Senator Wong.
Present.
Senator Carter.
Present.
Senator Todd.
Present.
Senator Weismiller.
Present.
Senator McNaughton.
Present.
Senator Medina.
Present.
I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The agenda is approved as presented. I entertain a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Move to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
And second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The previous meeting minutes are approved as presented. Our next order of business will be officer reports. President Bardois.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I've been working with Chief Paul to finalize the proposal for safety zones. We have already finalized, and the proposal has been agreed upon. It has been sent to the Office of General Counsel. So this has been pretty successful. Hopefully, we should be hearing back and then moving on with the launch of these scooters. I'm currently in the review process of the funding board and software charters that I'll be working with Director Crowley, and additionally, Director Salim and Director Holby will be presenting these changes to the Senate in upcoming weeks once this is reviewed. I had meeting with the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor. Basic major discussions included the Chancellor's town hall in March that would be coming up. This would be addressing any concerns regarding past town hall, or it is open to any students who can come and talk to the Chancellor regarding any concerns. We are also proposing a open forum in April that would have all the Council of Deans. And as you all know, we have the Food and Housing Forum coming up next week on February 26th, 1:30 to 2:30. And the theme of this forum is housing and on-campus living. Similarly, the theme on April event would be academics and advising in general. So I look forward to sharing more information with you all after speaking to Council of Deans. Something else we discussed was student engagement efforts and potential initiatives that we would like to work on. These include promoting two-way communication. That means having communication coming from the administration to different departments, but at the same time, getting more concerns and focus groups from students with changes. We have already had Division of Student Affairs send Wolverine weekly, and they're looking into much more in the communication efforts of students. I've had a report from the Institutional Analysis Director regarding Go Blue Guarantee. This is just to specify that we are looking into potential of how would it look like to have Go Blue on UM-Flint campus. Currently, we're only looking into facts and numbers. There's no consideration of whether Go Blue is coming to campus or not. This is just merely as student government's effort in advocacy to see if there is a potential. Couple of the numbers that have come in suggest how much of our students get the scholarships and financial aid. So I'm going to go through those. So the Michigan-Flint Scholar Award, which awards full rides, is given to 39 students, which totals about $425,000 and 460. Honorable Merit Scholarship is given to 687 on average to $967,000 and above. Signature Merit Scholarship at 500 with one almost $2 million. Distinguished Merit Scholarship with 125 for more than $210,000. So these numbers indicate that there are a lot of students who are being financially helped, whether it's through the scholarship programs or other programs through the university outreach with Flint Promise Scholar or the merit programs. So I will be looking into more. I've reached out to multiple student groups who have also expressed their concerns regarding Goku Guarantee, so I can compare the facts and we can finally have a final decision on what it does really look like to have a Goku Guarantee. I'll be working with Director Salim to confirm the audit on student orgs that have applied for funding during the past semester and this semester. Also, the DPSS Advisory Council rep and the RSC in Ann Arbor were needed for RSC, which is the Research and Actives Committee, focuses on giving scholarships to student faculty and staff. We have Senator McNaughton as the rep, and the meetings will be held in Ann Arbor. With that, I yield.
Thank you. In terms of my report, this past week, I was able to speak to Bill from Picasso about catering for a collaboration student government has between Hall Council and CAB. I will talk more about it, but it's still in the planning. We're trying to make it a pretty big surprise for the student body. On top of that, I was able to meet with Mont and continue corresponding with Kettering, and they will be on our campus this coming Friday in order to continue planning for Flint first. I was also able to work with Director Hoagley and Director Torrey on planning stuff for Fire Pit, and we're hoping to have a couple days where we can have students come in and we can record their performances so that it's never a hindrance to why people are not participating in Fire Pit. And with that, I yield. Director of Administrative Affairs for that.
Hello everyone. So the Food and Housing Open Forum will be on the 26th of Feb, which is next Wednesday, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in Michigan Room C and D. Please make sure to attend. It is very important to get student input. And with that, I will.
Thank you. Director of Financial Affairs, Salim.
Hello, everyone. So as President Bharadwaj mentioned, the funding board charter has been edited and handed over for review. The changes that I've recommended were based on my experience with the funding board and things that we felt were needed in the charter. As on February 6th, 2020, the funding board balance in the funding board account was $21,820. The balance in the Senate account, which is excluding funding board, was $17,539.26. And the administrative budget, the balance was $13,416.02. Those were numbers as on February 6th. By the end of the month, I'll be giving an updated report on these numbers based on the spending for student government. I'm also going to be working on an additional sheet which will have expenditures from bills in specific. So if we've had bills for say $200, it's going to reflect the actual amount that was expended from the account. And yeah, with that, I mean.
Thank you. Director of Government and Legal Affairs, Burley.
All right, good evening, everyone. So a little update on the USC that we're working on updating. A shared Google Doc will be going out tonight. to the people on the GLA committee as well as President Bardawaj for review and commenting on stuff. There's a lot of progress that has been made on that in the committee meeting today. I'll be reporting on that later. I'm also going to be reviewing the funding board and soft board charters to make sure that they line up with our constitution and our bylaws as soon as I receive those. And then I also have started working on some forms for sustainability for my own position to make sure that the next Director of Government and Legal Affairs has a smooth transition into doing the work that I currently do. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Director of Student Relations, Williams.
I met with the Faculty Student Concerns Committee Friday, February 14th. Also, once again, the reminder that the Food and Housing Forum is February 26th at 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. I'll be creating an Excel document of tasks that I'll be sharing with everybody in student government. So if you are attending the event and you are able to help out, please fill it out. I'm going to send that tomorrow night. Also, it's currently potentially in the works of having the Regents meetings streamed in Ann Arbor for Flint and Dearborn campuses. So I'll keep people updated on that. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Director of Board Outreach, Elmore.
All right, so I'm continuing to work on the Student Legal Services Survey. I believe that the Qualtrics issue has been resolved, so I'm hoping to have the survey live sometime next week. I met with Gary Ashley on Monday to further discuss civic engagement efforts on campus. Gary Ashley and Paul Noss met with Edie Goldenberg from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. There, she kind of coordinates the civic engagement on that campus, and she will be giving Flint $5,000 to help with efforts here. And then in regards to the Civic Engagement Steering Committee, we were planning on meeting once a month, but we've decided to move it to a bi-weekly format for better efficiency. I've also been working with students in Ann Arbor for the trip to Lansing planned for March 12th. 2 to 3 student government members will help coordinate with students in Lansing. As of now, that is myself and Director Hoadley. 2 students will be testifying before the subcommittee regarding their higher education financial experiences, and 10 other students will be attending, will have the opportunity to discuss similar topics with representatives before the testimony begins at 3 p.m. If anyone is interested in attending that, please reach out to me via email. And then next week, I will be attending the Campus Climate Committee meeting in Ann Arbor to discuss more about the 2020 presidential debate and the effect that will have on Flint's campus. And then finally, I did want to inform students of potential internship opportunities directly relating to the presidential debate that's taking place on the Ann Arbor campus in October of this year, excuse me. In the minutes, there's going to be a link to that page, so you can kind of sign up, give your email, and the times that you're interested in working. And if you have any further questions, please reach out. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Director of Technology and Web Development, Jory.
So this last week, me and Vice President O'Deer went to Mock Community College to talk to their student government president. They recently just started their student government program. And on top of talking about Flint First in general, we just exchanged conversation how we can improve each other's student governments, and we plan to have further meetings to address Flint First and just helping each other out. As far as Fire Pit goes, me and Director Hobley have a meeting tomorrow. We'll talk about, we'll set in place the rules for the competition for the talent show. And we're gonna make sure that the rules comply with what we're able to do online on whatever platform we decide. And more information on that will be released this week after we come up with the rules and get the flyer out. I've also worked on the website, just a lot of small changes. But overall, I'm starting on finding all the accomplishments our past administrations have done, and I'd like to organize it so we can reflect everything each student government administration has done over the years. And also, we're looking into charging stations on campus, and I'm looking into alternatives or another bill that can work with the charging stations. I'm exploring the idea of potentially doing chargers in the library. The issue is the library doesn't allow students to take these chargers outside of the library due to theft. People will take a new charger home, switch it with a broken or old charger, bring it back, and the library doesn't have a system to make sure that that charger's theirs. So I'm looking into possible anti-theft options so we can hopefully get chargers able to be out of the library. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Director of Student Organizations and Partnership Board Hoover.
The software charter was submitted and is being reviewed. A new VSO application was submitted for May's Model United Nations. I will be working with Director Jory to finalize details for Fire Pit. After everything is worked out, the details, information, and flyer will be sent out to organizations. Some upcoming events on our campus are Queer Thursdays, which are in the CGS office, hosted by CGS and Pride. There's also a dining dialogue discussing the Divine Nine's impact over time on Thursday, February 20th at 4:30 in Michigan Room C and D. There's the NPHC Yard Show, Thursday, February 20th at 6, and it is at the McKinnon Theater on Kettering's campus. There's also a movie night hosted by Block Club on Friday, February 21st at 6, and MSB 107. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. I now yield the floor to Vice Chair of Senate Ken.
Hello, everyone. For this past week, I attended the GLA meeting. I talked with Nicole in the missions to go to the high school, Cummingsburg High School next Wednesday. She is on board. She is ready to go. I revised the agenda for the high school visit. It was somewhat screwed up, but we fixed it. I take it for SG. What I'm going to do next week is go to Cummingsburg High School and complete my fall semester caucus and continue to help my fellow senators with their dedicated caucuses. With that, I yield.
Thank you. We will now be moving on to advisor reports.
Just want to remind everyone about the carbon neutrality visit next week. In the morning is the event, as well as the student event in the afternoon. And also let you know there'll be a follow-up event in March that will focus on the commuting experience. And Ann Arbor will be returning to campus to hear from faculty, staff, and students about commuting to campus and how we can make that a better experience that's more carbon neutral. With that, I yield.
Thank you. We will now be moving on to senator reports. Senator Wong.
Good evening, everyone. So this past week, I met with Senator McNaughton to discuss our health care caucus. I contacted Teresa Landis, director of the Rec Center, to arrange a meeting about the health fair, and I will be meeting with her tomorrow morning at 9:30 to discuss details. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Senator Carter.
This week I contacted the company QuickBoost. I plan to contact the company QuickBoost to discuss potential discount in purchasing and charging stations, but my recent revelations made known to me about potential student interest and budget concerns. I put it off to wait to get a budget report from Director Celine. This week, I also attended the Foreign Outreach Committee, the Funding Board Committee, and the Government and Legal Affairs Committee.
Thank you. Senator Wiseman.
Hello, everyone. This week, I had met with Chief Hall and the Criminal Justice Club to finalize campus games and go over the details. Most importantly, student government's contribution to this event. I am in the process of drafting a bill that will allocate funding for pizza and ice cream for this event, which will be taking place March 19th, Thursday, from 4 to 6 in the rec center. They will have the whole floor. It will include laser tag, beach volleyball, dodgeball, VR headsets, and I believe badminton. This event will need about 12 or 14 volunteers, so any help from student organizations will be much appreciated. But at the moment, and there will also be a DJ provided by Public Safety. At the present moment, the biggest push is just marketing, advertising, making sure about students go there. Also, I met with Alpha Phi Alpha to discuss a student government collaboration with the Black Excellence Banquet when we get returned from spring break. And I went to GLA committee. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. I now yield the floor to Senator Todd.
Good evening. Well, this week I met with GLA and the Foreign Outreach Committee. In GLA, we're working on revamping the Unified Student Code. I took 2 days and surveyed students to see how they felt about charging stations around and any way how student government could help. Also, on Friday, I'll be going with Vice President Odira to Mott and to discuss the first. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Senator McNaughton.
All right, this week, I met with Senator Wong to discuss our health screenings caucus, and we have a meeting set up for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m., which I will be in attendance for. And then also, I work with Senator Bartlage, or President Bartlage, my apologies, to get myself onto the Research and Creative Activities Committee, and I look forward to my first meeting on the 20th of this month in Ann Arbor. With that, I will.
Thank you. Senator Medina.
So yesterday, Hall Council hosted their Peer Factor event. It was successful, and we had 2 winners for that event. I've also contacted my high school principal for a leadership summit through Foreign Outreach Committee. He emailed me with some concerns. I'll bring up with Director Outmore to see if we can figure that out. I have a meeting with Luna tomorrow in correlation about collaboration with Hall Council. I have a meeting with Alpha Phi Alpha as well for another collaboration for NCAA Watch Party next week as well. I'll be meeting with Marketing Club as well next week for a collaboration between CAB, student government, and Hall Council. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. We will now be moving on to Director Committee reports. Are there any Director Committee reports?
So for the funding board had an open meeting today. $1,070 were allocated to Block Club for the alumni student basketball game. Aside from that, there are 3 allocations to review at the next funding board meeting, which will be held next week on Wednesday. The next open meeting for the funding board is 2 weeks from today at 1:30 p.m. in the conference room in the loft. And I would encourage any VSOs requesting funding to do so by Monday before that meeting. Any requests that are sent in less than 48 hours before the funding board meeting will be deferred and added to the following meeting's agenda. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other Director Committee reports?
So the Government and Legal Affairs Committee met earlier today from 3:30 to 4:30. Just to kind of update everybody who's not familiar with the process of how we're going to get this new USC passed, there's a lot of stuff that we're changing around the order and the structure of how it goes. So we're gonna pass it as one big resolution that will pass through Senate to get that approved. Just so for a reminder for anybody who didn't know. So as I said, there's a shared Google Doc that'll be going out. We split the USC up into sections so people could make comments on those sections, and there's more than one person in each main section of the USC that is gonna be reviewing it and coming back with comments. And at our next week's meeting, we're gonna put it all together and kind of finalize this stuff so it can be sent out to General Counsel on the 28th. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other Director Committee reports?
Okay, so the Foreign Outreach Committee met today. We discussed the plan for the conference/leadership summit for high school students. We'll have more updates to come on that next week. We also discussed legal services and the survey, as well as the 2020 presidential debate and the March 12th Lansing Day. And with that,
Thank you. Are there any other Director Committee reports? As there are no other Director Committee reports, the floor is now closed for Director Committee reports. We will now be moving on to University Committee reports. Are there any University Committee reports? Yes.
So I met with the Faculty Student Concerns Committee. Once again, we talked about the Food and Housing Forum. We also planned the next forum, which will be March 16th. from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. That one will feature Chancellor Detta, and students are able to voice any concerns that they might have about the university to him. So yeah, if they have any questions for him, to come to that. Yeah, I'll start proposing some more things about that event. And then also, our next meeting is March 20th. And we also talked about the library over spring and summer, which will be closed on Saturdays. And I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other university committee reports? Senator Wiseman.
Just want to make a correction from last week's parking committee report, is that the chief responded back to me on clarification on the 20%, 80%. So 20% of funds from violations will go back to the university, 80% will go to the Downtown Development Authority. And all ticketing, the whole ticketing process will be taken over by the DDA and not DPS. And as it is, it's not, my correction was correct, it was not City Hall, it's, students will go to the courthouse as of right now, but in the future, it will be the DDA office in downtown, where students will go to pay their parking or other violations. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Are there any other universities? Yes.
Just so everyone knows, the DEI Commission will be meeting on Friday, February 21st from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Thank you. Are there any other university committee reports? The floor is now closed for university committee reports, as there are no more university committee reports. We will now be moving on to old business. I now yield the floor to Director Williams and Senator McNaughton to present Senate Bill 2020-003.
So once again, this bill is used to be able to finance not only food, but as well as just the event hosting costs from EBS. We're requesting $600 to sponsor the lunch provided for this event, as well as those things. This is the breakdown of each purchase. As you can see, vegetable tray, chicken tenders, cookies, bottled water, lemonade will be utilized for the food and drinks for the event. And then also there's going to be a microphone fee, as well as an AV tech who's going to be running those technologies. And there's going to be linens for each table, and a safety fee just in case anything happens that makes it go over.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
I do have a comment. As per the platform of Bardwell Madera administration, accountability was a huge aspect, and I think these forums are doing a lot of justification in what we were wanting to achieve. And the same goes for the upcoming forum with Chancellor as well as with the Council of Deans. And I think this is a great opportunity for students to voice their concerns. And the students, once they voice their concerns in this forum, the student government will be taking those concerns and advocating with the higher administration to get the result. So I think this is a great initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? As there are no other questions, comments, and concerns, the floor is now closed for questions, comments, and concerns. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2020-003 as presented.
Second. Motion. I make a motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The bill has been passed as presented.
Point of order, shall read. Jordan's an abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I now yield the floor to Senator Wise Miller to present Senate Bill 2020-004.
Is it this one?
No.
Oh.
You're on.
That's it.
Yeah.
No.
There you go.
This one has Jordan's name on it as well. This is the one.
It's 4. That's
Point of information. So this is actually Senate Bill 2020-05. It was changed at the last meeting. I don't know why that's not reflected.
I could open an old one, I bet.
But yeah, so that one's supposed to be 2020-05. The bill with Cameron.
Okay.
So
Is the next one over?
that one's from 2019, so I don't know.
What?
To the left.
No,
On
give me
the-
that.
I'm so glad you're here.
I bet not.
Thank you so much.
Logan, I have it up right now. I'll share it with you.
Okay, thanks.
Just to make it easier.
Thank you, Director Jordan.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. Today, this bill here is going to be for the fire pit prizes, talent show. Asking student government for $500 for the prizes, which are an Amazon Kindle, Beats Pill speaker, and GoPro for student government. And all money not used will be returned to the Senate account.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
So, from my understanding, this was Bill 2020-004 as it was presented last week, and the other one was 05. So I'll just propose a friendly amendment to change this to 04.
Yes.
Can I make a motion to do that?
To change it?
Yes.
If it's a friendly amendment, the author of the bill can just say yes, change it, and then it'll be.
Okay, so just change this number here
Yes, to 4.
to 4?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes.
Do we have exact prices on, the prizes that we're getting? Because I know that there's multiple, like, versions of each thing. There's like 4 different Beats Bills, 3 different Amazon Kindles, and like 5 or 7 GoPros, and they all vary in price, so it can, like, do we know exactly which ones we're getting?
I do not know.
Is there any-
Yes, I can clarify that. So in terms of what versions we're getting currently, the GoPro will cost us $200. The Beats Pill speaker will cost us $180, and the Kindle will cost us $100. For that, I have them in a link, but I can for sure forward to you, and I can send that to you as well. Yeah, so I can get that to you. I just left it open in case we decide we want a newer version or older version. We can figure out that.
Thank you.
So that price fits in that time frame, right? I mean, that price range, right? So it's just fine, don't just be, okay, all right. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? As there are no more questions, comments, and concerns, the floor is now closed for questions, comments, and concerns. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2020-004 as presented.
Make a motion to adopt 2020 004 to adopt.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The bill is passed as presented. I now yield the floor to Director Hoadley and Senator Weissmiller to present Senate Bill 2020-005.
Am I replacing Senator?
I'm so sorry, I meant actually Senator McDonald, it's my mistake.
So as we already spoke, this would be Senate Bill 05. It was written like that at one point. I think we might have opened up an old one, but it's okay. We can check that later. So this is a bill concerning what CGS came and spoke to us about a few meetings ago. It is for student government to give $100 for each organization that completes the necessary trainings through CGS. It would be up to 5 student organizations, so we would expend a maximum of $500 for those organizations. All money not used would be transferred back into the account.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
Is there any restriction on which organization is eligible for this, or is it open to like any DSO or SSO that takes part?
So as far as I know, it is open to any of them that take part, that complete the necessary trainings, and it's as a first come, first served basis.
Thank you.
I can confirm that it's any organization because this, most of the funding is in partnership with CGS. It's not coming from, let's say, funding board.
I apologize for not noticing this last week, but do you mean a recognized student organization?
So,
Meaning that the university has recognized it, or any student organization that exists on campus?
They must be, the recording for this, it goes through Engage, so they must be recognized.
Then we may need a amendment that indicates for each recognized student organization.
So there, I just want to clarify, the reason I'm asking is because, and I think you did clarify, but for everyone else, the reason I'm asking is because, when the funding board expends money, to DSOs, it's for one, recognized student organizations, and two, there are some exempt DSOs from the funding board, such as, those that are involved in FSL, fraternity and sorority life, they go to their respective councils, and club sports also goes to their respective, department. So is this like, does this encompass FSL and club sports as well? Or is it, that's why I was clarifying, I wanted to clarify.
Yes.
As per confirmation from CGS, it would go to any organization.
Thank you.
Are there
Any recognized.
Any
student.
recognized, thank you.
Are there any other questions, comments? Yes.
I'll offer a friendly amendment, include the word recognized student organization.
Is it a friendly amendment, or does it need to be amended?
It would be, it would be amended.
As a nominee.
So it'll have to be motioned as amended. Okay.
Yes.
I move to amend, Senate Bill 2020-04 to reflect that this is for recognized student organizations.
Is there a second?
Sorry.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The amendment has been passed. Are there any other questions, comments, and concerns about the bill? Yes.
I like a friendly amendment to change, it changes to 2020-05.
Are there any other questions, comments, and concerns? As there are no other questions, comments, and concerns, I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2020-005 as presented.
As
Motion
amended.
to adopt the bill.
As amended, sorry.
As amended.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Are there any opposed? Are there any abstentions? The bill has been passed as amended. As there is no new business, we will now be moving on to questions, comments, and concerns. Are there any questions, comments, and concerns?
Director Jory, I have the idea of maybe, for the chargers, a scannable barcode. I know the library uses barcodes already for a lot of their, items, so maybe that could be a potential solution.
With that, that's actually what they'd done in the beginning, but people ended up either gluing the barcodes back on, or, so we have to find barcodes that are either durable or permanent, because in the past, they've been able to take them off and put them on, so they do. I'll look into more durable ones, and see if there's any way to do that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns?
A couple of comments. Senator Weissmuller, I just had a suggestion that you get in touch with the Web and Technology Committee to get the campus games on student government page so we can get more advertising going. Also, I needed clarification on the Alpha Phi Alpha collaborations. What are we looking at in this event? If there are any details on it?
Yes, Mr. President. Well, the Alpha Alpha is wanting the student government to essentially pay for the food at the banquet. The cost was most likely, they're hoping to get that waived, but I told them good luck. So that's basically what the collaboration is just to pay for the food at the banquet.
Thank you.
So, in response to that,
Yes, they're part of NPHC, so they have to go to NPHC and get their money.
So student government can help.
so if it's through the funding board, they'll have to go to their respective council. Just like any other fraternity or sorority, so NPHC, CPA, IFC, they have to go to their respective councils for funding.
Yes.
I will say that I think there is a separation with the collaboration of student government to where you bring it to Senate to propose maybe allowing the purchase of the food items. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just wanted to clarify.
As per the current funding board charter, it is proposals to Senate are for fraternity, sorority life, or club sports are only in case of a philanthropic event where they might ask Senate for funding. Otherwise stated, they must go to their councils. However, Senate has the majority to overrule that. But we would recommend them to go to their respective councils because they have been allotted budget for that.
Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
Senator Todd, you said that you talked to students about, like they're gauging their interest in the charging stations, right?
Absolutely.
What was the general consensus?
Well, the consensus was, I took 2 days, and they do see a need for chargers on campus, but not so much charging stations. They would like a place to go out and check out a charger. They would like to see Apple chargers implemented because, like in the library, you can rent HP, not rent, but you can borrow HP laptops, but you can't get a Mac charger. And so they and a lot of them thought that it was very expensive for what they got.
Yes.
To add on to that, Senate, we discussed it in our Senate meeting and we wanted to explore all options. We take student input into consideration as all, but like Harvey survey students is not the whole population, so we're looking at avenues about making sure we all support everyone, not just certain people.
Thank you. Yes.
If I may, just a suggestion, can we perhaps get, like a rough estimate or an idea of how frequently the charging station in Clint's Cafe is used? Because if it's not being used, and this is from a financial perspective, I don't see like how this would make sense if something is provided but not used. The money can be put to better use. And this isn't to, put the idea down. I think it's a fantastic idea and I'm really glad that it's been brought up. But are we exhausting our other options to provide something else for students before we do something that's already there and not being used? Are you?
The hands that are up, are they in response to the question?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
So I'm not saying anything bad about your survey. It wasn't scientific, it was just verbal communication. So we did talk about doing polling through Engage. So through that, it's to get a more diverse opinion on the charging stations. But like it was said, we are looking at other options as well to see what's best for the student population.
Okay, I just want to point out that saying how often the charging station in Clint's Cafe use, I think, will not be accurate because people really don't, and Clint's Cafe do get more. So if we just go off that data, we won't be sure that the charging station is being used because people don't need a charging station, or if it's because it's in Clint's Cafe. Phase of that data will be inaccurate. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to point out, some people are commuters and they leave the chargers down. Sometimes you're in a rush, you come home, so you can go to a charging station. So our charging station now was a pilot program in the past, and it was in the Clint's Cafe. We plan on moving it to Picasso. And the point about the charging station was not to limit it to Picasso. We wanted to go to other buildings, so other students that have class in that area or generally in that area at all, they can use the charging station. They're not have to walk all the way to Clint's Cafe as now to use a charging station. So we want to make sure every student has access to every student just in case if they forget their charger at home, because most of the time we are commuters.
I think, in order to determine if people actually use the charging stations, before we get more, maybe look into the idea of moving the one in Clint's Cafe first to a more common area, so we can actually see the use before we spend the money. Or, yeah, I just, like Senator Carter said, I don't think Clint's Cafe charging station will give us an accurate prediction on how often it will be used.
Okay, before we carry on, I am limiting the discussion to 5 more minutes.
So the reason I bring this up is, like Senator King mentioned, the first charging station was a pilot, which would imply that it was a test run. So that's kind of a good benchmark for us to go by. That if the pilot failed, we shouldn't follow through with it. If the pilot was successful, maybe we should follow through with it. And I really appreciate all the senators wanting to do these things. I think it's a fantastic idea, but if the numbers don't back it up, I don't think that it's sensible maybe at the moment. So if we could get more concrete information on the usage of the charging station, I think it would make more sense after that.
Okay.
The most important thing is that maybe we push it to a decision later in the semester where we're going to potentially have leftover money, and if we can afford it, to make sure that we push forward if that is something that we consider as an option. I know that we have tens of thousands of dollars remaining, even though that's going to drastically change since then. But I would say the concern is to make sure that we're utilizing our funds for the student body opposed to keeping it for no alternative reason.
Thank you.
I know this was brought up a little bit earlier, but I wanted to reiterate that the students' concerns, it's not a really, from my research that I've done, that's not what, students would rather have their individual chargers to, rent out or, take. And I think also that the charging station in Clinton Cafe should be moved. A lot of students actually have been using, Clinton's Cafe, a lot more this year. If you notice, every day, you'll see students over there every day. And they're just not being used, but instead of taking, $500 per charging station, why not take $5 to $20 per charger and maybe put them in the SIL office or get a partnership, get some type of, a partnership with a different org to, let's rent them out, and then that would get more students coming into their organization or, and with that I yield.
Thank you. So for the last 2 minutes of this conversation, we're open for any solutions to the problem. Yes.
This isn't exactly a solution, but can I just say it real quick? Okay, Director Williams, with all due respect, I don't think it's about the money that's in our budget, and I've been saying this since my first day in this position. It's about the value of what we provide. If we're not providing something that's gonna be used by students just because we have the money, I don't think it's a good idea to just throw the money because we have it. I think coming up with something better and using that money there instead would be a better use of it. And that's why I'm saying this, I yield.
Thank you.
Okay, so, I don't believe that putting off this decision for a week or a month will be helpful, but we're nearing the end of the administration as it is, and the longer we delay it, so at least the less likely it's going to happen, in my opinion. Yeah, and also I just want to point out that when the initial charging station was installed, Clint's Cafe was a much more popular area to hang out in than it used to be, so the information we'll get from it has changed from when it was originally envisioned. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I don't know, can I propose solutions, seeing as I'm a member of the student body?
Please.
Why don't we, so there was you guys discussed a pilot program about installing this charging station at Clint's Cafe. And Clint's Cafe at the time was busy, but as time's going on, it's not as busy. Why don't you just start a whole new pilot program, or even just take a week and move it somewhere more
I'd like to
popular?
clarify that that was not a pilot program. One was purchased by student government and that location was chosen. It was not a pilot. But that doesn't mean the idea couldn't be move it, pilot, track it. So I just want to clarify.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so why not just propose a new pilot program and move it somewhere more popular, measure that success, and then go from there?
Move it, make it.
Thank you. We will now close the floor for comments on this matter, and we can continue it during Senate meeting or bring it back to the general meeting next week. Yes.
I have a question for Director Williams. The town hall on March 16th, where's that located? Do you know?
The student forum is going to be located in the Michigan room. It's going to be, I don't know the exact Michigan, that's what it's going to be.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes.
I would like to put a correction, I'm sorry. It's in the happenings room. That's the space. Final answer. There you go.
Thank you. Are there any other, yes?
I would like to ask, especially the senators, if you're on a committee, on a university committee, and the committee has not met yet on the semester, please raise your hands. Okay. Thank you so much. Hey.
Thank you. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
This is a question for Director Hoadley. When will SOB board will be meeting?
They will be doing a paper meeting, but since the new VSO application has ties with some of the members of SOP board, they will not be a part of the discussion.
Are there any other questions, comments, and concerns? As there are no other questions, comments, and concerns, meeting adjourned at 7:56.